up my mod development environment and the environment that I'm using when I'm streaming. So in this, I'm going to describe how the DayZ server got set up, how DayZ got set up, and how the mod itself is structured. And the mod will be uploaded and posted in the link below in the description. But getting started, we'll focus on DayZ and then we'll head over to the server. So with DayZ, there's very few changes you have to make. You have to set up DayZ so that BattleEye is disabled. It's really easy to do that. Take DayZbe.exe, slap on the .disabled on the end of it, and take the BattleEye folder and just throw disabled on the end of that as well. And what that'll do is prevent BattleEye from launching on DayZ. The reason I have that set up is because my server is set up to not run BattleEye. Now the server right now can't run without BattleEye. So unless you have the patched version of the server to run without BattleEye, you're not going to be able to do this. You're going to have to leave BattleEye running. So that's going to make this video not perfect for you, because I am not going to be distributing the patched version of the server. But if you do have the patched version of the server, this will work for you. If you don't have to disable BattleEye. You just leave the client files the same, slap in the mod file, right, with your mod folder, which I'll get to, and you'll need to set up a batch file to run the game. Mine's a little complex. Really only need this line: start DayZ-x64exe, no splash, no pause, no benchmark, script debug true, connect to your IP address and port, and dash mod, and then your mod name, your mod folder. You have that, and you're pretty much good to go. My environment, I set this up so whenever I press space in this batch file, it will kill DayZ, copy the mod files from the server, and then relaunch it. That way I only have to edit the mod files in the server files, and then I don't have to copy them over. I don't have to do all that. That's all handled on my end. Yours doesn't have to be that complicated. Yeah, so that's number one, is setting up this batch file. And if you're disabling BattleEye, disable BattleEye. Otherwise, leave it enabled, because you do need BattleEye to run the server by default. And that's it for the client. You slap your mod files in here, right? So your mod CPP, your add-ons, any keys that you need. You can disable signatures in the server files, so you don't need to have your files signed. Actually, my PBO in here is not signed. This signature here is wrong. But I disabled signatures, and I'll get to that. So we're going to go ahead and head over to the server files now. This is where it gets a little bit more complicated. So I downloaded the server files through Steam. I didn't use the Steam downloader, Steam CMD. Sorry, I'm drinking coffee. But we'll go ahead and the first thing I would do with the server files is, if you do have the patched version of the server that lets you not run BattleEye, you rename the BattleEye folder to BattleEye.disabled. Again, if you don't have this patched version, just leave BattleEye alone. You're going to need to set up your server CFG. And so this is the server CFG that they provide with us, along with these custom parameters that were given to us on the DayZ forums. So you set up your server, your password, your admin password. Before I get to these custom parameters, verify signatures, I set that to 0. For same build, you're going to be working off the experimental branch. The server files are built for experimental, and so your client should be off of the stress test if you were on that, or off of the stable and be on the experimental build. And as well, server time by default comes with system time. I changed that to this 2018 9/19 12/0. That sets that's the day that I got the server files. So September 19th, at 12 o'clock. So right at noon. And I set that up so every time I boot the server, it's always daytime, no matter what time it is for me. And then server time persistent, set that to 0, and every time you boot the server, it'll start at noon. And that's really it. That's all you need to do with the server files, the config in here, right? Battle.i equals 0. This doesn't actually work. So I could delete that, it'd work the same. You need to set up a log file, so I set it up to server console.log. We don't need to, but you should, so you can see the console log. Log memory, log players, and what that does is that creates this massive spam of information in the server. Just tells you log memory, maybe not. Log players would be nice just to see that whenever players can join, it starts spamming players 0 in total. It lets you know immediately when you can and can't join the server. Enable debug monitor to 1, and disable VAC. This just disables VAC.
What is your problem? I don't know you. Stop following me.
Did I really just get a follow? And did that notification just pop up? It didn't pop up because it was invisible, but wow. I got a follow in the middle of this video. Anyhow, the MOTD, I mean, I don't even know if this works. Respawn time does. I set it to 5, you probably set it to 1. Whenever you join the server, it fires off that respawn time. Oh, so currently I have one player in the server that's a friend of mine testing. But yeah, once you have those parameters set up, good to go. I'll probably provide a lot of these text files in a haste bin, or a couple different haste bins in the description as well. So you don't have to worry about pausing the video to really get these down. I mean, you might have already did, in which case sucks for you. But we're gonna go ahead and I'll just leave these open. So after you set up your server config, you need to go ahead and hop in and set up your mod files. So you go to keys. This is one of the things you have to do. If you have a signature, your by key goes in there. Add-on in here, your mod. If you're packing anything, and this is what I've been told, I don't know this from experience, but if you're packing anything like objects or anything that does need to be binarized in ARM3, you need to binarize it in DayZ. If you're packing anything that doesn't, like the script code like I do, you don't need to. And because I don't need to binarize these files, I just use PBO Manager. I had issues getting Mikura's PBO project running, but that's not to say that you can't. I can't help you with that. But yes, next on this to-do list, right? So say you don't have Battle.i disabled, you have your mod files in, you have your server CFG up, and you have your mod files on your client, and you have your client's start batch file. You need to set up the server start batch file. This is mine. It's a little more complex than the last one, but it gives me control over what port, the mod, if I need logging, the config, the profile. I would recommend setting up this profile. When you boot the server, you get just a buttload of logs in here, but I would recommend setting that up. Your start line needs to be start DayZ server 64.exe. You need to point to your config, your port, your profile, which would be dash profiles equals and your profile path. And the last thing you really need is just dash mod equals your mod. Anything else like logging, do logs, admin log, net log, script debug, and freeze check. If the server freezes for more than 5 minutes, it will auto close. So it's not that complex. This is that batch file that you see there in process. So what it does is it starts by killing the server, Then it asks if you'd like to start the server, enter Y, and then it'll start up your server, and then it'll ask again, do you want to kill the server? And then whenever I'm done with this server, I just press Y and hit enter. That's about it. Going into the BattlEye issue, they did remove the config option to set BattlEye disabled. Instead, in place of where they would normally have that check that says, hey, if they disable BattlEye in the config, don't run BattlEye. Instead of adding that, they just kind of took that comment out. They kind of just took that if statement out of the code. So it doesn't check that anymore. It just always launches BattlEye. I don't know if that was a mistake or if they don't want people running it without BattlEye, but it is possible to run it without BattlEye. When I'm streaming, I'm running the server without BattlEye, just because it allows me to use software to help debug scripts every now and then. It's rarely that I use it, but in the times that I do use it, I would prefer not to get BattlEye banned because I'm trying to debug a mod that I'm working on. So, for most people, I mean, that's BattlEye being on their dev server isn't nothing important. But yes, the next thing is your mod folder, right? So, the way I have it structured is basically a copy and paste from the way that another guy had his structured, right? So you have your folder, you need to have your mods.cpp file, which needs to be set up like this. Which these files are all in the description, so you can grab them and use them for testing. The code in these files I'm probably going to wipe out, but the mod structure I'll keep. And the reason I'm going to wipe the code out is because Bohemia has this policy where they don't want people, distributing their mods. Technically, this is a mod. It doesn't do anything, but it is a mod. So if I distribute it without code in it and just the structure, I feel like they're less likely to be upset with me. Anyhow, you need the directory, right? That would be the folder DayZ server Cfg. And then you have picture, action, both of those blank, hide picture, hide action. The name, this can be, as far as I can tell, anything. Credits can go to whoever helped. I credited Jacob and Sumrak because Jacob set up the structure for the camera mod that I copied the format from, and Sumrak helped him with that. So, author ID, I figure this is going to be from the workshop. This will probably be like your Steam ID, but as far as I know, it's not implemented. Version, extra, and type mod. None of these things you should really change except for name, credits, author, and directory. Dependencies, these are saying which parts of the game that your mod's dependent on. By being dependent on game, world, and mission, I can access the game script module, the world script module, and the mission script module. So these would be, go into my PBO real quick, the 3 game, 4 world, 5 mission. If you don't know what that is, I'll probably do another video on that. But this is just saying, hey, this mod is going to be dependent on these. It's not saying which add-ons are. And your add-on doesn't need to use all of these. Yes, so into the add-ons, you'll have an add-on file. These could be named anything. I just named mine the same as my mod. But we have the config CPP. Mine's empty. It's structured the same way that Arma is structured. So, as for required add-ons, I figure that's, again, looking for the CFG patches names, just like in Arma. As for prefix, I had a bit of an issue with these. I wasn't quite sure what the actual issue was. So, I have cache prefix cache, and that points to com Keegan, which is my structure. Then we have revision 1. And then these were straight from the files I found in DayZ's DTA folder. where you have prefix equals config and revision equals 1. PBO type is arm unknown. All these will be included. Just really all you have to change is the prefix. I figure revision is going to be used for like maybe detecting that a mod is out of date on launch. But then you have the game, the world, and the mission folder. So in here you would place your modded classes, your new classes, right? And you would write your code in that fashion. So this has been a long video. A lot longer than it really needed to be. So yes, batch file, server config, server batch file, and then your mod. That's really all you need. You can edit the mission, but I'm not focusing on that. I don't really think you should, because there's so many limitations to modding through the mission file. I'm sure there'll be use cases, but yeah. Anyway, I hope this helped. I'll be streaming hopefully every day I can. Using this structure to just find out what I can do in DayZ. All right.